All right, let's get ready to swing, folks, because we're diving deep into the world of Boogie Woogie in 2025. If you're tuning in, I'm guessing you want the lowdown on what's happening with this genre right now. And trust me, it's way more than just some, nostalgic throwback. We dug into a ton of articles, reports, interviews, and honestly, I was pretty blown away by how this piano-driven sound is evolving. It's captivating audiences in ways I just wouldn't have expected.
Yeah, it's really fascinating to see Boogie Woogie experiencing this kind of like a renaissance, blending its roots with all these modern influences. Before we jump into the 2025 scene, though, maybe we should set the stage a bit. What exactly makes traditional Boogie Woogie so unique?
Okay, yeah, good point. It's all about that driving rhythm, right? That infectious energy that just makes you want to move. It's like impossible to sit still when you hear it. You've got that signature left-hand bass line that just locks you in, and then the right hand takes off with these, really energetic melodies on top.
Exactly. That rolling left hand is like the heartbeat of Boogie Woogie, and it creates this perfect foundation for improvisation, like all those amazing piano solos that just, take your breath away. I think the real magic is how it blends blues and jazz and ragtime influences into this unstoppable groove.
Yeah, it's like they're all having this musical conversation with each other. But here's where things get really interesting, right? Like, we're seeing modern Boogie Woogie artists take those classic elements and they're weaving them into these soundscapes that are both familiar and fresh at the same time.
Absolutely. It's not just about preserving tradition, it's about pushing the boundaries, like exploring new sonic territory. Imagine those classic piano rhythms layered with modern beats, synthesized melodies, even elements of rock and electronic music.
I know. And from what I've read, some producers are actually sampling old Boogie Woogie records and incorporating them into electronic tracks. It's kind of cool. Like, it's bridging a gap between these, different generations of music lovers.
Yeah, precisely. And this fusion is attracting a whole new audience who might not have even considered themselves Boogie Woogie fans before, right? It's opening up the genre to a much wider world.
Totally. I was reading this fascinating article about the UK Boogie Woogie scene. It seems like it's a real hotbed for this kind of experimentation. In fact, two names kept popping up over and over again: Brendan Kavanagh and Terry Miles. They seem to be right at the forefront of this new wave of Boogie Woogie artists.
Yeah, they're both incredibly talented musicians.
Yeah.
And they're both really pushing the envelope of what Boogie Woogie can be. Kavanagh, for instance, he has this really deep understanding of the traditional style. But he's not afraid to experiment at all. I mean, he's collaborated with electronic music producers, blending his piano, playing with modern beats, synth melodies.
So it's not just adding a drum machine to the mix, right? Mm-hmm. We're talking about a genuine fusion where those electronic elements become part of the Boogie Woogie DNA.
Exactly. He's even said in interviews that he sees Boogie Woogie as a foundation upon which you can build almost anything. He loves how, adding synths can create this melancholic, almost futuristic vibe, but while still retaining that raw energy of the original piano.
Wow. That's pretty incredible how those classic rhythms can find new life in these completely unexpected contexts. And what about Terry Miles? How does he approach this fusion of styles?
Well, Miles brings in influences from rock, blues, 80s jazz.
Yeah.
He's not just a phenomenal pianist, but he's also a multi-instrumentalist. He actually forms bands that really extend the sonic palette of Boogie Woogie.
Oh, that's interesting. I came across a quote from him where he said he wants to create music that's both visceral and intellectual. It's like he's aiming for a full body experience, right? One that engages your mind as much as your feet.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And it's important to note that both Kavanagh and Miles are also passionate about mentoring younger musicians, which is so crucial for ensuring the future of the genre.
For sure. It's inspiring to see these, established artists passing on their knowledge and passion to the next generation. But it's not just about tradition for them, is it? They're also embracing all these new technologies and platforms to reach a wider audience.
Absolutely. They're using digital platforms to share their music, collaborate with artists across the globe, connect with fans in ways that were just never possible before. It's truly a global phenomenon now.
Yeah, that's wild. It's incredible to think about how technology is not only changing how Boogie Woogie sounds, but also how it's experienced and shared. It's like opening up a whole new chapter in the history of the genre.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
And it's not just, limited to the UK either.
Yeah.
This whole Boogie Woogie revival is happening all over the world. You've got artists from all these diverse cultures bringing their own unique flavors to the mix.
It is really exciting to see Boogie Woogie becoming this global language, connecting people across borders and cultures.
Right. And what's so fascinating is how these global influences are actually enriching the music itself. Imagine hearing Boogie Woogie with elements of Latin American rhythms, or incorporating scales and instrumentation from, Asia or Africa.
Yeah, it's like a whole new world of sonic possibilities is opening up. I was reading about this Japanese pianist who's blending traditional boogie woogie with elements of Japanese folk music. Apparently his live shows are incredible.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's a real testament to the adaptability and the enduring appeal of boogie woogie, like those core elements, that driving rhythm, that bluesy feel. They provide such a solid foundation for experimentation and cross-cultural collaboration.
Definitely. And we can't forget about technology, right? Earlier we talked about how artists are using digital platforms to reach wider audiences, but it goes even deeper than that. I mean, advanced recording techniques are allowing them to capture the nuances of their playing with incredible detail.
Oh, absolutely. The quality of recordings these days is phenomenal. It lets listeners truly appreciate all those subtleties of the music. The interplay between the left and right hand, the intricate improvisations. It's like you're right there in the studio with the artist.
Yeah, it's so immersive. And then you've got virtual reality, which is totally transforming live performances. Imagine experiencing a Boogie Woogie concert from anywhere in the world, feeling like you're right there in the front row.
It's wild. I mean, some artists are even using motion capture technology to create these virtual avatars of themselves, allowing them to perform alongside other musicians in virtual spaces.
Yeah.
The possibilities are mind-boggling.
I know. I read about a concert where a Boogie Woogie pianist in New York was performing live with a virtual band made up of musicians from all over the world. It's insane. It's breaking down geographical barriers and creating these incredible musical collaborations that just wouldn't have been possible before.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. Technology isn't only connecting musicians, but it's also transforming how audiences experience the music. We're seeing artists incorporating interactive elements into their live shows, allowing the audience to actually become part of the performance.
Oh yeah, how some electronic music shows have those insane visuals? Well, imagine that, but with the raw power of live Boogie Woogie piano. I saw this one performance where they projected these geometric patterns that responded to the rhythm and intensity of the music. It was mesmerizing.
Wow, that sounds cool. That kind of visual element adds another layer of excitement and engagement, right? Attracting both longtime fans and those who are, brand new to Boogie Woogie. It's a true fusion of art forms.
Yeah, it's really something else. So I think it's safe to say that Boogie Woogie in 2025 is far from a dusty relic of the past. It's a vibrant, evolving genre that's embracing the future with open arms.
Exactly. It's a testament to the enduring power of music to adapt, reinvent itself, and connect with people across generations and cultures.
Well said. It's been amazing to take this deep dive with you and explore the world of Boogie Woogie in 2025.
It's been my pleasure. And for anyone listening who wants to experience this amazing genre firsthand, I encourage you to seek out artists like Brendan Kavanaugh and Terry Miles. They're just two examples of the incredible talent out there, pushing the boundaries of Boogie Woogie and keeping its spirit alive.
For sure. And don't forget to check out some live shows if you get the chance. You won't regret it.
Absolutely. The energy of live Boogie Woogie is something truly special.
It really has been fascinating to learn about all of this stuff. But before we wrap up, I'm curious, with all this innovation happening, what do you think the future holds for Boogie Woogie?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? If the past few years are anything to go by, I think Boogie Woogie is in for some really exciting times. We're going to see even more unexpected fusions, I bet. I mean, we've talked about electronic music, jazz, rock, but who knows what other genres might get pulled into the mix?
Yeah. It's like that line from the Miles Davis documentary, "Don't play what's there, play what's not there." Boogie Woogie seems ripe for that kind of exploration,
Yeah, exactly. And technology is going to keep pushing the boundaries too. Imagine more creative uses of VR and augmented reality in those live shows we were just talking about. Like a Boogie Woogie concert where the audience can actually interact with the music in real time, or even where virtual musicians from around the world can jam together on stage.
Wait, hold on. You're saying I could be sitting here in my living room feeling like I'm on stage with Terry Miles, trading piano riffs?
I mean, it might not be that far off, right? And don't forget about the educational side of things. Like the online master classes Kavanaugh and Miles are doing, it's opening up Boogie Woogie to a whole new generation of learners.
Yeah, it is. It's almost like this full circle moment, right? Boogie Woogie had its heyday decades ago, and now it's finding new life through the very technologies that kind of disrupted the music industry in the first place.
Yeah, there's a beautiful irony in that, for sure. It speaks to the resilience of the music itself. That raw energy, that joy, that feeling of connection. Those things transcend trends. you know?
Thinking back to where we started this deep dive, you really painted a picture of Boogie Woogie, not as some museum piece, but as this like living, breathing art form that's still evolving.
And it's an art form that's accessible to everyone, too. You don't need to be a virtuoso pianist to appreciate the energy and emotion of Boogie Woogie.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I love about it. It makes you want to tap your feet, get up and dance, maybe even try your hand at the piano yourself.
Exactly. So to anyone listening who's feeling inspired, I encourage you to go deeper, seek out the music of Brendan Kavanaugh, Terry Miles, and all the countless other talented artists who are keeping Boogie Woogie alive and kicking it in 2025.
Absolutely. Explore those fusions, check out the online lessons, and if you ever get the chance to see a live show, don't hesitate. Go for it. You might just discover your new musical obsession.
You never know where that next deep dive will lead you.
Well said. And on that note, thanks for joining us on this journey into the heart of Boogie Woogie. Until next time, keep the music playing, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep those fingers boogieing.